probably mill or drill out holes in each one of these runners to be able to weld in the fuel injector bungs. I'm Michael Essa, and I'm going to take this 2016 340i and turn it into a drift car. All right, what's up guys? So back here at the car, we've got, again, some more stuff done, little detail stuff. We got the wheel arches, got those all welded up except for the inside. I gotta put a couple more tack welds with a MIG in there. Everything here is done. We've got the mount for the coolant reservoir. So this will be mounted right here. The window is gonna stop here, so all of this is gonna be open. And finished up the fuel filler panel. They mounted right here. So that'll get bolted down. I'll weld the tab on here also. And then we got a hose going down to the tank. So we've got the quick fill that makes it super quick and easy to fill the tank. The water lines on this side are done. So I modified this dash 20 that comes out of the CSF R1 radiator. So I got a dash 2090, cut the end off of it, welded a tube on so I can get it to go to the water pump. And we've got some HPS hoses that are reducers. So it's a 1.25 inch, which is the dash 20 size, to 1.75 inch, which is the size on the front of this water pump. Made some aluminum hard lines for that, basically go into the car in the bottom like this. And then we'll have another tube that gets welded on, or maybe even just a hose coupler here. So the dash 20 side is gonna be like half hard line. And that was just the best way to do it. Instead of running a soft line all the way back here to the pump. It's pretty tight right there. There wasn't enough room for a fitting to get into that spot, so we bent up some aluminum tubing. Inside the car, it's pretty much the same as it was before. We haven't really done anything else there. Everything else is pretty much done. Firewall stuff is all mocked up and finished. Everything else is already welded in. I've got to, once we take everything out, we'll weld up the steering column, weld the ECU and PDM mount. And then I will also weld on the bracket for the brake fluid reservoir that's gonna go right here. The fab work under the hood is basically done, except for the intercooler piping. I've already got it all figured out, but I need to make a bracket to hold the intercooler in place. The tanks are done, and it's just gonna drop right in here. So we'll have real short intercooler piping. That'll keep the less area you have to fill, the faster the turbo will spool up and boost will get into the engines. A short 90-degree tube right here in the intercooler and a little bit of an S bend into the intake manifold, and we'll be done there. The wastegate pipes and the down pipe, I guess in this case the up pipe, because we got it going out of the hood, those are all mocked up and ready to get welded. And then the intake manifold is almost done. Basically it's all mocked up. So we got this Dock Race intake manifold from an N54, so it's like from a 335, and we modified it. So basically cut the runners off, a few inches of the runners off, had a flange plasma cut, and got that fit on here to the B58 engine, rotated this to get it clear and so go into the intercooler. It was pointing over here before and is gonna make contact with this. And then the last thing I gotta do is notch a little section of this out to clear the oil filter housings. Probably mill or drill out holes in each one of these runners to be able to weld in the fuel injector bungs. if I need to make a fixture to hold this thing into the mill, but that's basically gonna be the best way to line everything up and make sure we get even spacing and make sure the bungs aren't crooked or pointing weird directions, so that way once it's all together, we're not gonna have any fuel or boost leak problems at the bottom of the injectors. What we're gonna do today is basically take the entire car apart, back down to the bare chassis. I've got a few things that I need to finish welding. Once that's all done, we're gonna push the car across the street to the paint shop, and we're gonna have the engine, get that in the back of the truck and take it over to Papadakis Racing, and they're gonna do some head work to it for us. Basically these direct fuel injector ports that are in the head, they go directly into the cylinder. And when you go to port injection, these things, you could leave them bolted down, but they're gonna melt. The tips of these things get so hot because there's no fuel flowing through them. So we need to pull these out and have dowels, aluminum dowels, basically pressed into the head to fill those plugs. I've been talking to them about a few other things also, maybe a different profile camshaft and a little bit of head porting. They know what they're doing. They have experience with this engine and they're gonna take care of us. So we don't need to worry about trying to figure out how to do everything. They've got everything figured out already, so it's gonna save us a lot of time.
So we're gonna call this the Essa B58. So now we want to do head studs.
Yep.
Plug, DI, ports. You want to do the exhaust cam thing?
Yeah, you said it wasn't a big expense. Picks up like 15-20-ish horsepower.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah.
Yeah.
So then the cam, and then shims.
You got it. And here's all of the Supertech stuff.
Okay.
So
he's gonna do valve springs. He'll just do like a full blend sort of thing. He hates doing the porting and stuff nowadays because he's kind of getting older and stuff.
yeah, it's gonna be a stock bottom end, and if we decide to build it up and try to go for big power, because basically it's gonna be a demo car unless it's amazing and we feel like we should use it as an FD car.
We don't have to send anything out because we can pull the head off. We can plug the DI ports. We can put the calipered exhaust cam in, and then they have a spring kit that works with the stock valves. So we just swap that stuff over and not do a valve adjustment or anything like that.
Okay.
My cam alignment stuff should work with this.
Okay.
Because I didn't see any like differentiate. It didn't differentiate between the different B58s. It was just.
Yeah.
Let me show you what I have.
You have something that doesn't work.
So these are the 625s. So this is the normal. The only difference is these are ARP 2000 version.
Okay. Yep.
And they're like tapered.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's
perfect.
Yep. Okay, cool.
We don't need
because I have extras of these. So
Yeah.
that's those. I've got the cam here. I think. Yep. So here's the exhaust cam. It's just a regrind.
Okay.
Telford did.
Yep.
Cal file for this stock oil pressure sending unit.
Okay,
so
cool.
you can use that.
That's what G was saying. He's like, if we use all the stock sensors, because that's what you guys are running, and
You'll need some sort of feedback for this, the oil pressure. If you don't hook any power to this, it goes to maximum oil pressure, like 150 psi or 120 or something like that.
Got it.
And you add duty cycle and it brings it down. So you can do like a map thing or some kind of, you tune it.
Got
so
it.
G knows how to wire that. This is for your brake master booster.
Oh yeah, because the oil pump has like a scavenge vacuum pump in it, right?
So you want to plug this.
Okay.
Or else you'll be sucking a bunch of air into your crank and then it, so plug that.
Got it.
So you pull it out and build something, or you can just put a
aluminum plug. Yeah.
Yep. Crank straightforward, knocks straightforward, water pump you can figure out, right?
Yeah, I've got basically, I put a dash 20 on the back of the water pump here.
Yep.
Dash 16 here, so it'll go to the R1.
So this is the outlet.
Yes.
And then
this
inlet.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
So we have a 20 here,
Yep.
16 here.
And you plug this one, or the, oh, it doesn't have the
It doesn't have that crossover one in the front on this.
Okay.
So yeah, it actually had a tube that came off the back and went forward here, like for the radiator hose. But I know you guys have that one that like does a crossover from the front to.
Oh, I need to do the lockout here too.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, it's cap.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's got the same style, heat exchanger, oil filter housing, but it's just obviously in a different bolt pattern. And then same with the water outlets.
But you made some stuff there that, or you're gonna use the plastic one?
I'm gonna use the stock plastic one here. And it's got a water outlet here that was going to a small water pump that's for the turbo. Right? So ditch all that stuff, plug that, and then that's done.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
I'll know that that's for that.
Yeah, it's the only one that's gonna fit on. Yep. Get it started.
Okay, so we got two things right here.
Yep. Yeah, I got that. So we've got
mill
engine and battery cable.
But to me, that would be better right here.
Okay, yeah, you've already kind of measured out the
Yep.
links to go there.
And I think we decided because it's such a smaller area right here that you'd have more room to do something there.
Yep.
So it'll hit either one.
Okay. So maybe we'll do it in this one. Because I've got the hood hinge here,
That's where it was.
and then we're going to do a
That's
catch
okay.
tank over here
Yep.
where we have a lot of room.
I was thinking it was backwards. Yep.
So we'll do this one. That's the bulkhead for that side. So, right there. And that's for all the transmission stuff. So basically when you pull the transmission out, it's just this one plug. All the wires come with it. And this side of the harness stays in the car. It's just that little section that comes out. Cool, just to file the holes. So these are all new. We got to Loctite these, one to keep them in place, and also because the back of the crankshaft is open to the oil pan, so oil will get past the threads if we don't Loctite it.
Yeah.
And Loctite doesn't stick well when it's oily, so we'll clean them off. So on this B58 engine, this is actually the crankshaft trigger wheel for the crank sensor. So if this isn't installed, you will not get your engine to start. So pretty important piece here. And it's got a dowel that locates it, so it can only go on one way. So before you put Loctite on them, you want to install all the bolts, pull the flywheel down, flush with the crank, and then take the bolts out one at a time and put Loctite on them. Because if you don't, there's a chance of getting Loctite behind the flywheel in between the crank and getting some space in there. And when the Loctite dries, the flywheel's going to be a little bit off and you're gonna have a lot of vibration. So this just ensures that doesn't happen. Got a 4 millimeters of spacing. And basically if you have this always touching the clutch, as the clutch wears, the fingers on that clutch pressure plate start to come up. When that happens, you're going to get pressure against the release bearing, which is going to be trying to disengage the clutch the whole time. So the clutch isn't going to last long. It's going to wear out, never really grab. And on the other hand, if you have too much space, this bearing has a very short amount of usable throw. If it comes out too far, it'll actually pop the cylinder out and all the fluid will come out, and this will basically this piece in here will pop out, and you can see there's only about maybe 8 to 10 millimeters of travel before this is flush. And if it gets past that, there's an O-ring that'll pop, all the fluid will come out, and your clutch won't work anymore. So getting that spacing right is important. Probably leave the drive shaft out for now, make it easier to get to the wires and run them up there. Get the drive shaft be in our way, so leave that out. We're pretty much done down here. Through the FC0. Welcome back. We've been crazy on this thing, put tons of the car together, thrashing to get it done. So we've got dyno scheduled tonight at 6 o'clock. Right now it's 1, so we've got 5 hours. The car hasn't started yet. Still finishing up a few things on the wiring. Just finished up everything in the engine bay, all the plumbing, bled the brakes, bled the clutch. And we're gonna dump some fuel in this thing, put some oil in it, get all the fluids in there, start putting the bodywork stuff on it, and then hopefully we can fire it up before 4 o'clock, make sure everything's good, put it on the trailer, head to the dyno, cross our fingers that everything goes well, because it's supposed to leave tomorrow on a transporter to go to Gridlife in Michigan. So we got a lot of work to do. Cool. One. I mean, it's a bone stock engine. I'm shooting for like between 600 and 700, depending on how everything's going and how much boost we have to run. It could probably take more than that, but first time out, just shaking it down, I don't think we need a ton more power. Make sure it's reliable, so should make that power no problem.
Not yet.
Yeah, we can plug it in, then we can do a full calibration on it and see what it's doing.
Yeah, because we can actually move the blade if we have to.
Yeah, exactly. So that's 100% shut. And then we'll go all the way open, but just like it.
I had to do it. I can
Okay,
get it.
you got it, yeah.
Yep.
Good. Do you want to, I think more here, like on the black, separated from. And they're on. Yeah, so he's basically controlling the laptop via Team Viewer.
Yeah.
He can do everything and run through all the systems and check everything. So.
Any reason you're not pulling all coils, all plugs?
Well, I mean, I'm not worried about pulling the spark plugs, but
It's usually
I have-
easier to test the cam and crank with no plugs, but I mean, I guess if it's right off the bat, then
yeah, we'll see how it.
why are you trying to do? What are you trying to do first? I'm just reaching.
I'm just pulling these out so when we do the injector test to make sure one is one, the coils, you know, so that way we can just move through them quickly.
Just because this one's a lot different test than this, so this will be a quick. Brr, brr, brr.
Exactly.
That one has to go through the igniter, and we have to turn coil power on.
Like a downshift. There's also no rear brake pressure sensor, just front and clutch. John Reed is working on the Motec. Basically, he's on remote tune right now. In here, working on the software, setting everything up, checking everything. And here's the dyno. Yo. we're working on it, and I think we probably have about an hour more. The guys are waiting for us at the dyno. We're still going through everything and checking all the systems, making sure everything is correct before we try to start it up, so we can go through and look at everything. We've already powered up the fuel pumps. There were some small leaks at the fittings, so we got those tightened up. Fans working, ECU is communicating, the dash is working. So just kind of going through every single system step by step, looking at all the data. We got the throttle pedal to the throttle body working. That actually came together really quickly, considering we didn't really know the pinout on the throttle body, but Greg knows what he's doing, so he's able to figure out which way, where the sensors were. There's 6 wires basically. There's 2 powers, 2 grounds, and 2 sensors that work backwards. Got that figured out. Gonna check for spark, make sure the injectors are working. We can kind of go through one by one and make sure they're all pinned out correctly to make sure they're firing at the right time. Then we're gonna check the timing and make sure that the timing is 0. Then we should be able to fire it up, hopefully in about a half an hour. It's gonna be running. Okay, number 5. Good. All right, number 6. Good.
I found an easy way to deal with the transmission disconnect. If you lay in line with the tunnel and you put both arms around it like this, you can get right to it.
That's what I did.
I was trying to do both arms on one side and couldn't do it.
Yep. I'm gonna turn the ignition off for a second and then turn it back on. Let's get the fuel pumps to prime again. You're watching in front?
I'll stay up here.
Okay.
I got eyes with him, so cool.
I'll watch fuel cell and back here. Cool. All right, you guys ready?
Yep.
All right, I'm ready. Clear.
Ready? It's alive. It sounds loud.
Yeah. We'll fire it up again. Are you guys clear?
Clear.
Ready. All right, starting.
Clear.
Yeah. It's a ton of crankcase vacuum.
So you think it's crankcase?
That's what it sounded like to me. Because I opened the oil cap and it was like a ton of vacuum in there still. And there's this vent right here that used to go into the intake tube.
Oh.
So I asked Steph, like, do I need to run that to the intake? Like, or just anywhere, like, before, like, post filter? And he said you can just plug it, but I don't know if it's the same on this as it is on the Supra. So, and that was definitely a high crankcase, like pulling past the seals. With the oil pump, it's got a vacuum pump inside that turns with the oil pump. And that's how it gets vacuum for the brake booster. And that's plugged with a metal plug. And then there's another crankcase hole, so I don't know where it gets the vacuum to create a vacuum from.
Clear.
It's definitely crankcase vacuum.
Wow. Oh, smoke alarm?
I didn't even know we had a smoke alarm in here.
Well, the sprinklers don't come on, we're good.
All right, starting. Steph told me, like, to plug that hole up so it can't, you know, get vacuum. But it sounds like it's just pulling the vacuum from
Somewhere else.
from the case instead of out of that hole.
What happens if you unplug that line? Or open that on the block?
Yeah, well, I put a fucking metal plug in there. But I did make it so I could quickly get it out, but there's some way right now. So it's coming out of the engine, not out of the turbo.
It's forcing it out.
looks so good.
Dude, it doesn't even look like an FD car. That's what I was just telling you. Like,
Yeah.
right when the Corona shake, right when we went to lockdown, I just finished a.
Just completely
Black.
lubricated. Oh, it's fresh oil all over it. Yo, Sean, basically there's a hole in the back side of the driver's side of the block that's like the brake booster vacuum hole. So I plugged that up like Steph said.
Yeah, okay.
And I've got the original, you know, valve cover vent
Yeah,
going to a catch tank.
that's just like this.
The crankcase vacuum was insane.
Right, that's what she said.
Yeah, so I put that fuel pump block off plate that Steph gave me that has like the dash 10 on it.
Yep.
I put that on there open, and
Yep.
you know, problem solved. Like it's open.
Huh.
So, but it's still smoking like crazy. So I'm gonna put a borescope camera in there and see if the like cylinder walls are screwed or something, like from so much crankcase vacuum that it sucked the rings out and it was running dry with no oil, basically.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the only thing I can think of at this point, because it's
This is the motor that we just did the head gasket stuff for.
yeah.
Good job.
It's a turbocharged motor,
Yes.
obviously.
Yep.
Yeah.
So you're gonna be down to fix it tonight?
No, but dude, have you guys tried to call Steph just for
Not yet. You're the first guinea
call
pig.
him? Call him.
Okay.
Because he could have some better.
Insight on it.
Yeah.
It's dude, it doesn't. Yeah, it's weird. Was this motor ever run before, Mike? That you know this is a good motor?
Yeah, you drove it before.
No, this was like a
Okay.
solid, you know, 40,000
Okay.
mile running street car.
Okay, so you do know for sure it was a good motor.
The motor was good. Yeah, I drove it back from Santa
Okay.
Barbara when I bought it.
Right on, man. Thanks, Sean. Get back to work.
Alright, no problem.
Thanks,
Bye.
bro. Later. Come up with more evidence. Before
Yeah, I'm gonna peek in here before I call Steph.
All right, this could get ugly.
Yeah, clear because it's probably gonna spray oil.
Clear.
Good.
Solid.
220.
Holding.
200. Oh yeah, that's solid. 200.
Do you care more to do a leak down test if all these are good?
No.
Because what's the difference? I mean, what the fuck?
The only thing, leak down tells you where it's coming from. But if compression's good, then you don't need to know where any. I mean, nothing's wrong. So.
Fucking right away, dude.
200.
Yeah. The only oil that's on it would have been blown on it. It's not sitting in oil.
Exactly,
So
and it should be all dripping off of it, not soaking into it. So, yeah, I don't know. Let's push it back outside and fire it up again. Clear. Clear. B58s, man. On the back, or the block near the oil pan,
Yeah.
there's a vacuum pump inside of the case that's driven by the oil pump. Basically, it's connected to the oil pump. But basically, it's a vacuum pump.
It's not on the side of it, right? It's on the back.
No, it's on the side.
It's on the side back
Yeah,
here, right? I
yeah.
remember something back there.
There's that hole with like a plastic thing coming out of it for a hose for the vacuum booster. So Steph told me to plug it, so I just plugged that up. But I also don't know why this isn't letting the air in. Like, why did I have to open up that thing? Yeah, turn those.
be a bitch if that oil. It'd be a whole different problem.
Yeah, exactly.
Fuck.
It wasn't a whole lot better than not putting oil in it.
More oil doesn't mean more oil pressure.
Well, they actually like ran it like nothing.
Nothing.
Oh.
I don't know. It's like,
The motherfucker should have been dripping out right now, though.
it's exhaust. But I mean, it's not leaking down.
It's also coming out of the.
But I mean, so where's it getting oil in still? Did you pull the valves out all the way, or just like do the springs with the valves like kind of?
No, took the valves out all the way.
Valve stem seals looked okay when you put it back in?
Everything felt like fine. I didn't really inspect the valve stem seals,
Yep.
but I mean, you know, each valve went back in the same spot it came out of.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm just trying to figure out, because the leak down looks okay, compression test is good, but we took the spark plugs out, we cranked the engine over, we cleaned all the spark plugs, we put them back in, and we ran it for another 5 minutes, and the spark plugs are soaked, like carbon deposit burning. And when we're doing a leak down, we're getting like, you know, 8% or, you know, whatever of leak down, but then you can see smoke coming out of another cylinder, like it's an exhaust valve leak. Yeah, I wanted to pull the valve cover, but I don't know how to do it with the Vanos stuff. Is there like a process, or is it like a simple, basically just lift it off like a normal valve cover? Or?
Yeah, will the oil control solenoids still leave on the head, or do they have to come off with the valve cover?
The Vanos solenoids.
No, just take the fuel pump, that fuel pump cover on top,
Uh-huh.
the block plate, and then the valve cover.
Oh, okay, so the Vanos just stays there even when you take the valve cover off?
I mean, if it's like the B58, I just take off the fuel pump cover and then the valve cover.
So you leave the cam control solenoids still on?
On the valve cover, yeah. On the back, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And I just don't know how they're connected, how those things are connected to the Vanos.
I don't know either. I just take the valve cover off.
So it's just normal, just pull it off and it's all good.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Hold on, Tim.
The firewall. There we go.
Dun dun dun. All right, so that does mount to the head. So that's.
So there's these ports that I don't know if they're oil.
Yeah.
Excessive pressure blowing the oil in here.
And that
And
port
there's two.
is connected to, you know, it's like into the bottom of the fucking intake.
Oh.
So what I'm gonna do,
Whistling sound, the gasket.
Just block them off.
yeah, and block them.
Oh, we just plug these and move on.
Block these things up.
It's so simple.
It looks really similar. Like a lot of the tools are the same, but there's a couple differences. Then they did their block out, and they're like, yeah, that's the same. So we blocked that out. They were going to put a bigger exhaust cam in, but they said the way it bolts onto the Vanos in the back was different, so they couldn't put it in. So that's why they did all the valve springs for the bigger cam, and then went to put the cam in and said, oh, this is different than the new model B58. Well, it feels good to find the problem. I might just machine some aluminum plugs, just tight enough to tap them in flat. We'll be good to go. Feels like it's gonna go in there.
Yeah. Yeah, like it showed enough. I'll stick with Jay-Z's.
What a good.
Now we gotta clean up all the mess, change the plugs, finish the car, dyno tomorrow night, put on a trailer and send it to Michigan. Let's go home.
Recap tomorrow.
I don't even know what happened today. got the car started yesterday and we were supposed to head to the dyno, but basically as soon as we started it up, it started smoking, and the smoking was just getting worse and worse, and trying to figure out what was going on with it, and basically came down to Sean from Griddy. He came by and we were just trying to figure out what was going on.
My God.
You got too close.
Tim's dangerous.
Eventually Sean pulled up you know, a bunch of forms, and apparently there's an issue with the B58s that came in all the BMWs from 2016 to probably 2019. Basically there's an air oil separator inside of the valve cover, and I think the valve inside of there's a diaphragm that's supposed to control how much air it's letting in, how much vacuum it's allowing in the engine. I think that failed, got stuck open. So basically all the vacuum from the intake manifold would just draw oil out of the crankcase and just pump it into the engine, like almost like oil injection. So pulled the valve cover off. We found the spots where it would draw the air in from, made some metal plugs, popped them in there, put it all back together, fired it up, and smoking is going away now. It's basically just residual oil in the exhaust that is smoking, but it's almost gone. Hopefully everything goes well. We gotta get this thing done and head to Gridlife in like a day. So get this thing on the dyno and strap it down. Put some new spark plugs in today because the other ones were just toast, like covered in oil, and just kind of cleaned up everything on the car. There's just oil mess everywhere. Got the car together, and then we had a different catch tank setup that I basically drove the car around the block. It filled up with oil in probably a quarter of a mile of cruising in first gear. Fixed it, drained the oil tank, put the car on the trailer, brought it over here to the dyno, made some pulls, and car's running great. So, yeah, it's been a long week, but the car's running. We've got probably about 6 to 8 hours worth of work left on it to just finish up all the detail stuff, put the grills in, trim pieces, windows, stuff like that, seat belts, and then we're ready to go and hit the road, drive all the way out to Michigan for Gridlife. So we're ready to go now. Been an insane project. It started out kind of on pace. Everything was going along smooth. There were some deadlines that were missed and some parts that didn't show up on time. Finally got everything and finished the car. Dynoed it just in time, basically, for Gridlife. But the transport that we had lined up flaked. The only thing we could do is put it in our trailer and truck and drive out to Michigan. Right after the dyno, basically loaded the car back up in the trailer, grabbed some wheels and tires and some fuel, and off to Michigan. That was a 2,300 mile drive. Tim and I just jumped in the truck and drove. We stopped for gas station food, basically, and drove all the way there. Showed up on Thursday morning. We were so beat, just dead tired, but pulled up to the track. All the guys from FCP Euro came over to check out the car, and as we opened the back door of the trailer, when they saw it for the first time, just the look and their reaction was worth that whole build process, the whole drive out there.
That's a really good idea.
Is that a t-shirt cannon on the hood?
What do you think?
And speechless. That's a lot to take in right away. Like 3 weeks ago, this was just a bare chassis still. No, I don't know if I can make it. I'm gonna have to bring the E46. Nope, we gotta bring it. What do you think?
I think it's awesome. I mean, I've been dealing driving an F30 for a long time, so I know the car pretty well. And honestly, it's, no offense to F30 owners, they're a little lackluster. Twin World tried to build it into a race car, didn't really work all that well, and like seeing this thing, like maybe pulling the rules away and just letting it go, and obviously with a 6-cylinder engine, like, I'm excited to hear this thing. See this thing go.
This is
The gloss black is
hot.
cooler.
I didn't know what to expect because I hadn't seen much of anything at all. And so when he dropped the trailer, I was like, oh. I'm like a F30 hater, so to see this, I'm like, yeah, this is
Typically
they can still
owner,
be
right?
They can still be cool.
Everything after the E46 isn't as good as the E46.
His E46 drift car is like the best car in the world. You know what I'm saying?
Look at that shit-eating grin.
Holy shit, let's see that Lego Molly's blue stuff.
It's all stock. It's all stock. 5 power steering pump that we
The power steering
adapted
pump.
to it.
The thing has never even run on the track at this point, so it was fresh off the dyno and had never even seen more than just maybe a lap around the block here in first gear just to make sure the brakes work. So pulling it out of the trailer and getting it ready to shake down on Thursday was, you know, that was crazy, and it made the whole trip worthwhile. We did some photo shoot stuff on Thursday before we got the car dirty. Thursday night, they had some on-track stuff going on, some qualifying, I think, for GTLC. So we were allowed to go out there and do some car-to-car video shooting, photo shoot stuff. And while we were doing that, I was able to get the car sideways a little bit and kind of feel out what the car was doing. We did a quick shakedown on the track, and the car is working so well right out of the box. More than I expected. So happy with it. It looks good. It sounds good. It's shooting flames out of the hood. It's driving well. I can't wait for tomorrow and to get some more seat time in it, and really, like, you know, I was in second gear just kind of doing some shakedown stuff, but to get up into fourth or fifth gear down this front straightaway and throw it into that first corner is going to be so much fun. I cannot wait. So happy with it so far. Being that it was the first time on track ever in a chassis we've never built or run before, everything was new to us, and the car worked really well. We actually just ended up making a few shock changes, and that was enough to get us pretty dialed in and for the car to work really well all weekend. need to work on the tuning a little bit. When you tip into throttle, kind of before boost comes on, it's really rich, so it sputters. On the dyno, it's really hard to replicate real world driving situations. You full throttle on the dyno, we get all that mapping done, all of the drivability, really light throttle, going up a hill, 2,500 RPM in your full throttle, all that kind of stuff just needs to be sorted out. So we'll get that done today. And then also intercooler piping popped off. I'm not sure if it's just because everything was like so fresh, like all the silicone hoses and everything. We'll get that on there, tighten back up, and should be good to go.
I'm still impressed. I've been around it for like 24 hours now, fully, and I still keep looking at it. Like, it's just so clean, so well done. Maybe I'm just used to really scrappy, bad projects of my own, that when I see something like this, I'm like, oh, this is what people are capable of. Not that we didn't think that Essa was capable, but it's just too good. And then seeing it out there, it's just like, it's just beautiful.
Quite a few ride-alongs, and the reactions were awesome, especially at night when you could see the anti-lag and the flames coming out of the hood. The passengers were all stoked to be in the car. We had one guy that rode along with us that I think, you know, probably changed his life. He was so excited about it, and to have that type of reaction, for me, to watch somebody else enjoy this car that we just built, spent all this time on and effort, and get out there to the track, the car's running well, and we're putting smiles on faces. It was a great way to wrap up, you know, the entire build process, and really just go out there and shred and have some fun. No, this is just a demo car for now. You know, we'll see how it works.
They got air jacks? It's a race car. Am I gonna fit in here? I'm a little more, I got a little more around the...
Watch you, there you go, there you go.
It's like, people ask me if I'm a driver, I'm like, yeah. Hell yeah. I'll sign your hat.
get it, but you were nowhere to be found earlier.
That's what he said?
So that means we get lit tonight.
All right, what happened, Essa?
Gave this kid a ride along. It was a lot of fun. Came back in, swapped, and when I went out, I felt something weird, and I thought maybe the tires were like gone already because it felt kind of like slippery going around the first corner. So I was like, okay, no big deal. Like tires are pretty dead, but we'll just go ahead and go out anyway. Went in the first corner and just kind of threw it in. Felt it kind of like binding up in a weird way. So did the other corner, straightened out, and then I started to smell like axle grease. So I basically shut it down and just was cruising, and I could see in the mirror that there was just smoke billowing out of that side because the wheel was basically pushed up against the chassis and just grinding the tire off. And it looks like either a bolt broke. I'm not exactly sure what happened yet, but we'll get into there and look at it and see what's going on. But either way, it tore up the axle boot, and we don't have any spares, so I think we're probably done for the weekend, which sucks. We got 2 sets of tires left, but at the same time, it's the first time out with a car. There's always gonna be little issues, and you know, whenever you have a brand new build, there's always little bugs. So whether we need to put a stronger bolt in there, we'll figure it out.
How does it taste?
Not very good. Tastes like 85 or Ignite exhaust more than anything.
It was really good to be out there at Gridlife and see everybody from FCB Euro again. You know, being in SoCal over here and they're in Connecticut, we're pretty far apart. To be able to hang out with those guys again, you know, after the last Gridlife event that we were at before, getting out there and getting back in the groove and partying with them again was a lot of fun. Some good concerts and always good vibes at Gridlife events. So we had a lot of fun out there and ended the event, you know, on a high until we had to jump back in the truck and drive all the way back here. Don't have to rush it too much, but you know, want to get back in the shop and work. I don't even think we made it 100 miles from the track on Sunday morning, and the wheel came off of the trailer. I have no idea why, but it was a whole hub assembly. Basically, the wheel bearing toasted itself and the whole thing came off. I don't know where it came off or when exactly in that hour, but I looked back and I saw the aluminum fender flares on the trailer was like pointed up. Pulled over, checked out, wheels gone, jacked up the trailer, checked all the other wheel bearings, everything was good, all the grease was good, so no idea what happened and why that one decided to fail. I think maybe those roads over there are just so wrecked, hitting potholes and blew the bearing out or something, but it was Sunday morning in kind of the middle of nowhere. No trailer stores were open. We decided to just keep on driving and drive slow, which is not something that you want when you have 2,000 plus miles ahead of you to have to just go 50 miles an hour the whole way. But I figured that would be better than just staying out there, sitting by the truck till Monday and hoping that somebody would have parts to fix it. Monday we were calling places about getting it fixed. Nobody has the parts. They said 6 to 8 weeks. And at that point we were like, well, we're just gonna keep driving and keep checking the tires. And we got back here on, I think Tuesday morning, or no, Wednesday. Tuesday morning, 5 a.m. I don't know, all the days kind of melt together. Either way, we made it back, the car's safe, and it was definitely an epic journey. I want to say thanks to everyone who's watching this video. You guys are basically making it possible. We built this car to do a video series around it and to have a lot of fun, so I hope you guys really enjoyed it and you're interested in seeing more builds like this and more content from us. Subscribe, like it, all that stuff that people do on YouTube. That way you can get more videos like this. We can make more videos and have fun and bring you some more content, bring you some more educational type videos on how to build race cars and why we do the things that we do. I also want to say thanks to everyone who made this build possible. FCP Euro, Bill Stein, Corteco, and Liquimoly. Those guys put up a lot of product and everything to make this happen. And then we have all the other sponsors that came on board after, like Radium, Enki, WiseFab, Clutch Masters, Ignite Racing Fuel, Sparco, Motec, Samsonis, Driveshaft Pro. I mean, I'm just naming these off the top of my head. AKG, but I mean, the list we'll put up of all the sponsors that helped. We didn't use any product that we wouldn't have bought and paid full price for. It's quality stuff, and we use it on all the cars that we build. So check them out, check out all their products, and hopefully if you guys are building a car, you can use some of their stuff as well. You guys have a great day, and see you soon.